me no shot that.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. This is your host Majestic speaking with another episode of MechWarrior Online here. And today we're going to be taking out the Clan Assault Warhawk Hero, NANUQ. Now as you guys can see, we are in the middle of the battle, 2 minutes in here on Frozen City, playing Domination. And as you can see for the loadout, we have double WHK 10s in the right arm, 3 ER medium lasers in the left arm, and 2 SRM 4s in the right torso. Now, my entire team is focusing up right in the center of the map in this beacon range here. We're not even worrying about the flanks at this point, so hopefully the consolidated focus damage is going to get these guys down. This Jaeger mech popped out of the side here. I went for his torso, and I got him down, so payback certainly played a part right there very early on in this match. He poked around the corner trying to get our enforcer down, and I was able to help him out and ultimately get that kill. Now we're focusing up on 2 targets here, the Hellbringer up top and this Spider that looks like he's giving chase, trying to take out one of our assaults up there. It looks like our Direwolf is up there. Now we do have to be careful as to where we're positioning ourselves. On the other side of this shipwreck is the majority of their team, but we're going to try and put down some support fire and get these guys off of our Direwolf, or at least help them out a little bit to get into a better situation, maybe clean up the top so that we can secure our flank. Now I did double tap those WHK 10s into the Black Knight because of the low slung arms, but we did put down some suppression fire. But I have to keep an eye on the mini-map. These guys are right on the other side of this ship right here, and this Phoenix Hawk looks like he's just coming out of nowhere trying to get some shots down. I don't think he realized that a majority of my team is focused up right here right now, so he did take some shots there. Our Direwolf is in the middle, and he's getting a lot of consolidated focus fire. Unfortunately, he goes down. This Phoenix Hawk looks like he's coming for me. Unfortunately, we shut down in the process of putting a lot of damage into him. He's trying to get some more shots off. We cooled down enough, and now we're focusing our fire on him, and the rest of our team is helping out and trying to get this guy down. The Phoenix Hawks are very tanky. One big salvo does take out both of his arms, and that takes out a majority of his loadout. He's just running around like a chicken with his head cut off at this point, trying to get as much damage as he possibly can. Lost his leg, lost the other leg, and he finally goes down. Now, if I'm looking down on the mini-map yet again, I see that a majority of my team is making a push onto the other side of the ship here with a couple of mechs already here, so that means that we did take this side. This Supernova isn't even focusing on us. He's going right for the Mauler, and that gives us a big opportunity. He overheated. Big shot into those torsos. A lot of us just unleashed hell on this guy, and finally he goes down. So now we have a couple of targets over this way. We have Delta that looks like he disconnected, and my team was able to kill him. This Supernova up top, we're going to double tap and maybe get a salvo into, yeah, we got a salvo into that right side. So he did take some fire from us. But now he's kind of just in hiding. He looks like he's right behind this building here, not even focusing up on anyone. And he's just going to take a big salvo from us. That Panther is distracting him completely. One big salvo into that backside, and he goes down. So we get the kill on the Supernova. We have another, looks like another disconnect over here. This Stalker is just chilling behind a building. Probably knew it was going to happen and tried to find a spot to hide him, but you can't hide for too long, buddy. We are past the 10-minute mark at this point, and we're just going to unleash hell into this guy. Double tap those WHK 10s on top of the ER mediums, which causes us to overheat a little bit, but now we can put down some chain fire damage, get as much as we possibly can out of this. Now we did get about an extra, probably 100, 150 damage out of focusing up on that Stalker. Free damage, really, at that point. They have a Spider all the way across the map, but I'm looking at the timer up top, and it looks like that is how we're going to close off this round. And we got the supply cache, so an excellent way to finish off this round. Great gameplay, great job by the entire team, focusing up on our targets, committing to the center, getting these guys down, having the numbers advantage, and ultimately getting the win here. 2 kills, 5 assists, 999 damage. Did get a little bit of team damage there, but we also got 7 components destroyed, topping the leaderboards here, and pretty much signifying that this particular Warhawk variant can be used as a mid to short range brawly kind of support role. I mean, we really were very short range for a majority of that match, and this guy just stuck in there. It has the structure quirks to hang in there with the rest of the team, and even just looking at the summary stats for the round, this mech has a tremendous amount of firepower at its disposal. But before we draw any quick conclusions here, let's hop back into the mech lab and go through the details about the mech and the build. Alrighty guys, welcome back to the Mech Lab, where we're going to go through a comprehensive overview of this guy that I have in front of you, the Clan Assault Hero Warhawk NANUQ. Now, just to avoid any kind of pronunciation difficulties here, I nicknamed it, as you can see down here, the NOOK. It's just a lot easier to go through, and just in case that isn't how you pronounce it, I decided to give it a nickname. Now, what we're going to do here is we're going to dive into the nitty-gritty details about this mech. We're going to go through the hard points, the quirks, the custom loadout that I placed on it, the modules that I placed to bolster this guy's performance even more, then go through another round of gameplay and close with some final thoughts. So it's going to be very detailed, but you guys deserve a detailed explanation about this mech before you go out and decide whether or not to purchase this mech for yourselves. And the reason being is because any hero mech you have to purchase with real money, whether that's with MC or an actual, real life currency, dollars, euros, whatever you're using. So I want to give you guys the most amount of detail that you need in order to make that kind of informed decision as to whether or not you want to purchase it for yourselves. It is one of the most expensive heroes to purchase as an assault mech, so that's something you also have to take into consideration as well. So let's dive into the details about this mech. Before we actually check out the hard points, though, this is a completely mastered mech. So with the current skill tree still in place, the new skill tree is not yet in the game. We still have another 2 weeks before this does get released. So I am showing you how this mech performs from an optimal perspective with the current skill tree. Now, if we look first at the hard points, let's dive right into it here. 2 ballistic, 3 energy, 2 missiles, 0 AMS, and 0 ECM. As for the quirk summary list, this guy has a laundry list of quirks, and for a clan assault mech to have this kind of, list of quirks that cater towards it, it's kind of hard to pass up, and especially for the Warhawks, they've been overlooked for quite some time, simply because they're just overshadowed by bigger, heavier mechs with more to offer, especially when it comes from a hardpoint perspective, okay? Emphasis on hardpoints, because you don't see a lot of a massive loadout as you would normally expect on, say, like a Direwolf or anything like that. The typical setups on a Warhawk are, the 4 PPCs chain-fired or some kind of LRM concoction with long range and all kinds of stuff. So this is definitely a unique variant of the Warhawk. Now, as for the quirk summary list itself, acceleration and deceleration rate bonuses, base structure bonuses, in the center torso, left arm, left leg, right leg. Now, that is pretty much the entire mech, almost everything. But if we look in particular, the left arm and the right arm have plus 21 to their base structure. Now, I'm going to dive into how that's so critical in just a second, but let's get through the rest of it here. We have torso turn rate angle or yaw bonus of plus 10, torso turn angle of plus 10, so 10 and 10% for the turn rate. Then you have UAC jam chance reduction 20%, which, that is kind of substantial there. Laser duration 5% and ER medium laser heat generation 5%. So those last two, not really making that big of a difference in comparison. And when I dive into the loadout here, this is what's probably going to cause a little bit of a discrepancy between you guys, because, if you guys know how the stock NOOK is configured, it only has 1 missile hardpoint. So just because of the fact that I said that mine has 2, you already know that I turned this into a Frankenstein build, and I'm mixing some of the omnipods in here. So let me dive into the Mech Lab, into the specs of exactly how I configured this mech for itself so that you guys can understand where I'm coming from here. The Warhawks are not known for having massive loadouts, okay? They're known for having, smaller amounts of weapon, loadouts that cater towards specific styles and fitting particular weapon systems in there. So when the NOOK came into the game, you know, it gave a little bit of a different perspective here. And what I want to show to you guys is I could either cater to the quirks, which would include, you know, the UAC jam chance reduction, and the laser duration and ER medium heat generation bonuses, or I could see how this Warhawk performs with a completely and fully inclusive, typical, standardized kind of assault loadout. So what I mean by that is, as I mentioned, the Warhawks aren't known for having a lot of weapon systems on them. But this guy offers a different perspective here. And in particular, first thing I want to point out is in the right arm. In the right arm, if we look at every other variant of the Warhawk, we only have the A variant that offers any ballistic hard points. So the NOOK has 2 ballistic hard points. So right there, it sends a flag to me. Okay, so we have, you know, we have 2 ballistic hard points. No other Warhawk offers this. So I could stack some UACs on top of each other and use that as a cannon right arm. No other variant offers that. Now, if I look at the left arm, no other variant offers more than 2 energy hard points. Now, the NOOK left arm offers 3. So that also stuck out to me. I was like, okay, so now I can capitalize on maximizing the number of ballistic hardpoints in the right arm and the number of energy hardpoints in the left arm. So now I'm maximizing the output, making great use of that tonnage, that 85 tons of clan weaponry that we can stack into this thing. We might not have the quirks, and in particular, the only one that I'm disappointed about not having is the UAC jam chance reduction. But as a trade-off, I decided I'm going for maximum DPS with this setup, given the rest of the omnipods that are on this mech, apart from the NOOK's right torso. The right torso is what houses that 1 missile hardpoint. But I said, you know what? If we're switching it out, let's maximize on whatever we possibly can in that right torso so that we get the most out of it. So only one variant has more than 1 missile hardpoint, and that's the B variant. So I took the B variant's right torso and I shoved that in there to have 2 SRM4s. If I left the NOOK's, omnipod in there, I probably would have gone with a single SRM6 or something like that. So, you know, I wanted to maximize the DPS. If I did put the SRM6 in there with Artemis, the firepower would be 53 as opposed to 57. So 1 SRM6 versus 2 SRM4s, there's a 4-point differential there. Now, I know you might be thinking, well, that's not enough. Well, I'd still use the quirks, so on and so forth. But I said to myself when I was making this video, I want to maximize what, you know, goes against the grain for a Warhawk. You don't see the Warhawks getting really into the thick of a battle very often. You know, you don't see them near the front lines. You're in a support kind of role. They're always more long-range kind of support or artillery kind of roles. So, or suppression kind of roles. Those are the standard roles that you see in a Warhawk. So I wanted to go against the grain here. And by maximizing every single weapon system hardpoint on the rest of the NOOK's omnipods, and then taking into consideration the B variant's right torso, that's what stuck out to me. I would have switched out the left torso as well, but none of the variants offer anything. So I just stuck with the standard. It came with 4 double heat sinks in there, which is absolutely, you know, that's perfectly fine, just bolstering our heat management here. So what we have to offer as a result, so there was the trade-off. I decided to go with maximum DPS, you know, get rid of the quirks. They're not as critical as some of the other heroes or other, you know, clan mechs that are out there. So that was my own personal take on this mech. So if you want to switch it up and you decide to get this mech, you can mess around with it with all the omnipods and see which one works for you. The only thing that I would have done differently is just put an SRM6 in here, but I wanted to maximize the DPS and take into consideration the rest of the omnipods. That's simply the only difference. So you're going to see the second round of gameplay in just a minute, but again, we do want to go through the rest of this so that you guys have a full understanding of what this guy has to offer. Completely full, 85 out of 85 tons, 74 out of 78 slots. Then we have, 518 out of 526 armor. I took out 8 armor hardpoints out of the head, and then even with all of this weaponry on there, we have a 1.32 heat management ratio. That includes 21 double heat sinks. So, you know, the Warhawks, because they typically don't have these massive loadouts on them, they are very heat efficient mechs. And when I saw that I placed on the WHK-10s and the 3 ER mediums, and I saw that I had a very, very heat efficient ratio on there with fantastic heat dissipation with the amount of double heat sinks that were in this mech, I decided, you know what? We're going to make this video a little bit different, and we're going to go with maximum DPS and keep a very, very strong heat management ratio. So 1.32, definitely above my minimum of 1.2, and with 21 double heat sinks, the heat dissipation is absolutely fantastic. So with all of that taken into consideration, as I mentioned, all of the other omnipods are on there except for the B variant in the right torso. You get a 57-point alpha out of this thing. It goes 69.7 kph with speed tweak, so just about 70 kph, which is pretty fast. You know, considering, you know, some of the other assaults out there might range between 5 or 10, maybe even 15 kph of a differential. No jump jets or anything. Has an XL340, so it doesn't have the biggest engine, but that is a preset engine in there. So you can't switch it out. It is what it is. It's locked in there. And to go 70 kph, you know, I can deal with that. So to have all this structure bonus, to have a maximum loadout here, utilizing all of the omnipods that we can, maximizing our damage just by switching out that one omnipod, I'm happy with the result here. And when you see the next round of gameplay, I hope that you guys find that this video is very much informative, and the quirks might not really make that much of a difference here. So really what you'd be paying for are the omnipods. But let's check out the modules before we dive into the last round of gameplay. Now, this guy offers 4 module hardpoints. So until the new system is in the game, we do still have modules right now. I decided to go with advanced seismic sensor and radar deprivation, both mech modules. And then for the weapon modules, I decided to go with clan SRM-4 cooldown bonus of level 5, so that gives me a 12% bonus on the SRM-4 cooldown. So, you know, the ER mediums can, yeah, you know, they really can mess with your heat management after a while. So if there's one weapon that I want to keep firing off, apart from those UAC-10s, it's the SRM-4s. And I don't want to put a UAC-10 cooldown on there because, you know, without the quirks, if these things jam up, the cooldown is useless. So I decided to go with the clan SRM-4 cooldown, just constantly put down that spray of missiles, you know, sever off some components, not pinpoint damage, more splat damage, because the Warhawk is more of a defensive mech than an offensive mech. So I wanted to, you know, with the splat, you're a little bit more defensive than, you know, with a cooldown on the lasers as being more offensive. So, you know, and what I mean by that, just to clarify, is, you know, when you're looking at down the barrel of a loaded gun in front of you, maybe another assault mech, and they get, you know, their cockpit is shaking all over the place because they just got rocked by a salvo of SRMs. If you could keep firing off those missiles and throw them off their game, maybe throw their aim off a little bit, you don't get the cockpit shake with ER medium lasers. So that's, again, it's more of a defense mechanism utilizing that SRM-4 cooldown. And then I went with the UAC-10 range module, level 5. I don't want to cool down anything else. I don't want to cool down the lasers or anything because, again, the heat will stack up pretty quickly, even firing all these, you know, weapons off in succession. So I wanted to go with the UAC-10 range just to provide some support earlier on in the match. Once we get into more mid-range, maybe even closer to brawly short-range mode, then, you know, obviously we'll be utilizing our other weapons a lot more. But again, you know, so we have the advanced seismic sensor, radar deprivation, SRM-4 cooldown, and UAC-10 range modules, consumables, Cool Shot 9x9 just to keep this thing as heat efficient and cool as possible while it's out there on the battlefield fighting in whatever environment we encounter, whether it's Frozen City like we just were, or in the next round, which you're about to see. And then we also place an improved artillery strike on there, whether that's for a tactical perspective or purpose to, you know, get yourself into a better position and distract the enemy, make them back up, or if its actual intention is to inflict a lot of damage, maybe there's a consolidated focus of, you know, enemy mechs that are kind of centered around each other. Those are the consumables that I decided to go with. But enough chatter. It is time to hit the battlefield for one more round. So let's head back into the queue and see exactly how we do with our Clan Assault Hero mech, the NANUQ. Here we go. Alrighty guys, here we go. Second round is going to take place on Canyon Network. So very heat intensive map. Kind of short range, kind of long range, depending on where you are on the map, whether you're in the trenches or you're above near the plateaus. So there's a kind of a mix of everything, except, you know, again, that heat is not in our favor. But we're going to do the best we possibly can with what we've got. So first things first, as you can see, we are forming up in the Delta and Charlie quadrants, Charlie 5, Delta 5 area. And normally there is some sign of life over this way very early on in the match. So I did want to poke around the corner, see if there was anything here. I saw that I had some support behind me, but it looks like there's no sign of life at all. So that gives us kind of free reign to set up along this ridge on this side of the map, focusing in on that center point at the plateau in the middle. So that's exactly what we're going to do here. Just take a quick little peek up here. And although we don't have a lot of direct targets that we can actually see, we do have a couple targets on radar here. And right now we have this Marauder 2C. He's coming up on top of this plateau, but he's focusing on one of our friends, which gives us a huge opportunity to focus up on that right torso. And we take it off entirely very early on in this match, and he's already backing up, probably immediately regretting his decision to come over here. And a lot of the rest of that mech is cored up. We're going to put a big alpha into that center torso. We did overheat, but he's just about to go down any second now with all those cored up components, and there he goes. So it's 2-1 at this point. I think we lost 2 light mechs, but this Highlander 2C was trying to give that Marauder support, but now he's just running away frantically. There is a tremendous amount of damage coming out on him. Laser fire, ballistic fire, missile fire. This guy is literally just trying to retreat back to his team, probably limping back, trying to lick his wounds, but that gives us a huge advantage to take this spot near the plateau and set up for the rest of this match. And as you can see, we have a lot of short-range support here. This direwolf is on the other side of the plateau, which gives us the opportunity to kind of get a little bit of a flank, or at least get some information on these guys. We are supported by a Locust. They have a Cyclops right in front of us. We're going to put an alpha into his center torso, and he is going to send back some return fire. Didn't take as much as I thought we were going to take, so that was a good trade, but we do still have to be cautious. We're not going to get too over-aggressive when the score is 3-1 right now. This Highlander was peeking over, did get a salvo of LRMs on us, but we did also get some laser fire down on him. So it's kind of equal trading right now. We're kind of just peeking, peering over. But the biggest thing I have to focus on right now is that mini-map. Look at all that seismic sensor going off. And just from that, I can tell that they have a very tight-knit, consolidated, focused group just on the other side of this plateau. Decided to put down that RD strike just to get them moving a little bit, maybe shifting. One of them might come around the corner here, in which case I will be ready to protect our flank. So we're just going to peer around, just keep cautious, and support our big guys that are protecting the top of this plateau by having their back. So we're going to peer around the corner real quick just to see what we have here. And this Griffin is definitely out of position. We got a huge shot into that right torso, so he has to be feeling it. And we didn't really receive that much damage in return, so I'm very happy with that trade. Now we're going to focus around the side here, and this Locust is right in front of us. What is he doing? Why did he come over here? I have no idea, but we completely cored that center torso. It's cherry red, so I know he's not going to be back, but he was trying to get a flank shot on our big guys that are on the side here. Now we're going to take a little bit more of an aggressive approach here. That Timberwolf definitely saw me, but he decided to turn around. This Direwolf does not see me, and we get a big shot into that center torso with our lasers and the SRMs. Unfortunately, our UAC-10s did go into the dirt, so we do have to be more aware of those low-slung arms when firing off those autocannons, but we do still get some support up top of the plateau, putting down some more ballistic fire. We do have the clearance with those low-slung arms, but now we have to be careful around the side. That Direwolf looks like he's taking a very, very aggressive stance. And you know what, buddy? Have a salvo to the center torso. There you go. Now you're going to back up, I betcha. Well, I know you're there, so he backs up completely. Definitely not going to make another appearance over there if I had to guess. So now we're going to look up top, just see if there's anything in our sights. And although I can't see anything directly, I am still looking down on that mini-map, which is still going off. It's insane how much seismic is here, and they're right on the other side of this plateau. We're putting down some UAC and laser fire into that night gear, so he's probably going to move positions pretty soon. And at this point, it is 4-4, so still all tied up. but there's still some exchanges being made. So some guys are getting some angles on each other, but we're just going to try and support wherever we possibly can. Now, this Jaeger in front of me has no idea that we're here right now. We're taking out his right side entirely, and he's trying to change positions, but at the same time, he is focused on one of our friendlies, which gives us a big opportunity to put some more damage into that right side. We took off one of his AC2s, and now he's really scrambling to try and get into a better position because he realized that we have the flank on him, and this Locust comes up out of nowhere and gets the kill on that center torso, so he goes down. So one of the threats is eliminated, but now we're going to focus our attention to the other side. Delta, that Timberwolf is chewing alive our Highlander friendly over here, but accompanying that Timberwolf is in fact an enemy Highlander 2C, and he's just trying to put down some damage on us. We're gonna have to stand our ground here and get as much damage as we can, but my team is able to support and ultimately take him down. So now we're gonna try and focus our fire on this Timberwolf here. Looks like he's probably around the corner, but he's dropping into one of the canyons here, but behind him is a direwolf. Oh my gosh, we gotta put some damage on him, and we get the kill. He must have been severely damaged, and somehow, some way, we were able to secure that kill through the auto cannon fire to that center torso and take him out. Now, we are getting some damage from behind us, which must be one of those lights on the far end getting some sniper shots down on us, so we are cored up beyond belief, but we have to keep fighting. We have to help out the light mech of our own, who's fighting one-on-one against this Night Gear, who does take out our light, but I take him out in return, and now we're focusing up on this Cyclops double kill. So that now makes the score 10-8. We were down 7-5 and came back. Just a couple mechs left. We have this Black Knight in front of us. That light mech in the distance must have already gotten taken out, and just one more opponent left. This Timberwolf that was in the trench before. Now we're going to fire off the autocannons, followed up by those SRMs and the medium lasers, and somehow we got the final kill, which is absolutely incredible. 12-8 is the final score. I don't even know how much damage we did. What the fuck? Oh my word. 4 kills, 6 assists, 1,239 damage in a Warhawk. A Warhawk. 9 components destroyed. Yeah, we topped the leaderboards, all right. I don't know. How is it possible? A fucking Warhawk? That just shows anything is possible in this game. Seriously. That's really what it shows, that anything is possible in this game. And I'm going to close with that. No, but seriously, guys, that is going to do it for the end of the video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I'm still kind of shocked, knocked off my feet there of the results from that last game. You just don't expect those kind of numbers out of a Warhawk, out of all the assaults, to put up that kind of score. So I hope you guys enjoyed the round. I'm really happy I got that on film so that you guys could see what the potency and potential of this mech is, even without the quirks. Frankenstein build, mess around with what you're comfortable with, what your strong suit is, and just have fun. Have a great time with the game. If you like the build, I'm going to leave a Smurfy link in the description. If there's anything else that you guys want to add, feel free to leave all your comments, questions, concerns, or suggestions below. If you like the video overall, make sure you hit that like button, hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. Check out the links in the description. Again, as I mentioned, the Smurfy build will be there, as well as donations in case you guys do want to support the channel in any capacity. I really do appreciate all the support. Love you guys. Thank you guys so much for tuning into this episode of MechWarrior Online. Thank you again for all of the support, and I do look forward to seeing you not only on the battlefield, but also on the next one. Take care, guys.